Hello, everyone. Welcome. I think everyone's almost found their seating, save a few stragglers. Well, welcome, everyone. How's my sound quality?
Very good.
What if I stand back here?
No.
Can you still hear me from the back?
Yep.
So I still gotta be up here. I'm gonna do a combo of both frontal projection and rear speaker, so hopefully that'll work out. I just want to welcome everyone and thank everyone for traveling here. Some people did have to travel far to get here and off island, and it's not necessarily the most wonderful event to bring us together, and there's great loss and sorrow, but it's amazing to have everyone here, showing up together and loving Louise like this. And I want to say thank you to Hillary and the Noisy Acres Estate for hosting us. This garden space is lovely. And our event wouldn't nearly be so smooth if they didn't take us on. So today we're going to share loving memories of Louise and share some stories and have shares from the family and, give her tribute and hopefully give everyone here some solace with the loss that we've all faced. You've all been invited here, of course, because you have a unique relationship with Louise. You've all known her, and you've all been welcomed here as her close family and friends. And I really encourage you that if you want to speak and share a few words, come up to the mic and do it at the end of the formal speaking. But if you want to just share stories with friends after, I welcome you to do that. Or not share anything, and I welcome you to do that too. And that's my plan, is just to share a bunch of experience of my mother today. Some general housekeeping items, because that's always fun. There's a registry book by the front. Please sign it. It'd be lovely to have a full guest list. And there's photos up at the front, and there's art hung around in various places. I really encourage you to look at all the photos and hang out in the garden estates and enjoy Louise's art. There are 2 washrooms on the site, which you probably found already. One is tucked up in the bush back here, and the other one is kind of on the gravel area by the parking. There's hand disinfectant outside the washrooms. Make sure to disinfect going in, and of course wash your hands coming out. You can tell that everyone's kind of spaced out, and we're trying to do a good job with physical distancing. And I know a lot of you have been close over the last 3 weeks, and we've really popped our bubbles and really grown them largely. But that doesn't mean that everyone has done that. And I really encourage consent. Ask before you hug someone, ask before you touch someone, and just try to respect spacing if other people want it, particularly the hosting staff. Just want to talk quickly about what we're going to talk about today in the formal event, just so you know what to expect. And if you do have difficulty seating for 2 hours, you don't have to sit. Feel free to get up, walk around. Just don't be a distraction too much. The chairs aren't the best to sit for 2 hours, so if you don't want to, you don't have to. Get up and move around if you really need to. So we're going to begin with some shares from the close family members, and we're going to have some musical performance, and we're going to have additional shares by friends and siblings, and if time permitting, we'll have some open mic time up here. But I really don't want to keep the seated portion too long. After 90 minutes, we'll all be feeling those plastic seats for sure. Following the seated service, we are going to do light food and refreshment up at the bar area. And it will be our own family serving us to keep our numbers down. So be patient, please. More patient than you normally would, because the service is going to go slower than it normally will. And just keep your spacing while waiting in line. And hopefully about a third of the group at once can kind of go up and get food and get a drink. And we are doing a bar, non-alcoholic, but we do have some fancy mocktails that we put together for your beverage enjoyment. And then after we eat and get a little bit of drink, it's a beautiful space. There's the gazebo, there's the fire pit, there's horseshoes, there's lots of seating, and I really encourage you to just mingle and sit where you want, be comfortable, share stories. And then we'll do that to about 8 p.m. is about roughly our timeline. So with that, I invite everyone to get comfortable and to enjoy the shares from our speakers, and enjoy that. And to the speakers that are going to come up, um, your voice is probably going to break. You're probably going to break a few times and break down, and that's okay. Take the time you need and take a breath, and we'll continue when you're ready. And we'll all be patient. So with that, I'd love to welcome Eileen up here to share some verses.
Well, it's lovely to see so many people that we haven't seen in quite a while. It really is. Louise will love this. I'd like to talk a little bit about the history, growing up in England and coming out here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Louise, Margaret. Louise Margaret Rose Trett was born at approximately 10:25 Tuesday morning, August 26, 1958. She weighed exactly 7 pounds and she was absolutely perfect. The sun was shining. It was lovely. She was born at home in a rented house in York in the north of England, where we came from. 21-month-old Simon was sitting in a pushchair outside on the path. There was a gate, and it was sort of behind that, a bit of a hedge, and people were cycling and walking to work. And they kept saying, hello, hello. It was so funny, they were sort of all looking, where did this voice come from? But I could hear him while I was giving birth to Louise in the front room. There weren't many cars in those days. It was good because he got to meet his sister, Simon, before didn't have to wait till I came home from the hospital. And Bob was sitting by watching proceedings anxiously. The doctor thanked me for having Louise before she was to leave on her camping trip, so she told Baby she was very considerate. Thank you very much. Louise was always a contented baby, and very easy to train. She took her time taking that first step, 18 months, I believe, and that was in Germany. She never looked back after that. The house on Lawrence Street where we lived, it was a tall terrace house about 4 stories high, I think, lots of steps. It wasn't very safe. The only bathroom was at the bottom of the steep flight of bare stone steps. We were constantly watching to see that Simon didn't fall down the stairs. And then we discovered we had mice. I didn't have Adrian with me then, so the electricity was controlled with a meter, 1 shilling for so much time. It was at the foot of those stairs, round the corner, in through into the other room where we had coal, and you had to put the shilling in the meter if you could find where to do it, and it would run out always when it was dark, of course. I heard squeaky sounds and scuttling sounds, and I just knew we'd got an invited guest. Our landlady had given me permission to sublet part of the house, so I had a couple of people there. But one night Bob had been posted to Germany by this time, so I was on my own in this big old house with the babies and Simon. And we set traps for the mice, And one night I was in bed and heard this squeaky sound. I thought, oh no, no, not in the bedroom, is it in the bedroom? And I was so scared, and I sat up and listened. And it was Louise wheezing in her sleep in the cot at the end of the bed. Simon, Louise, and Ian were Air Force brats, constantly being moved around from place to place. Bob was away more than he was home for the first 10 years of our marriage. He was posted first to Cyprus and served 4 months there during the emergency, and then to Germany to RAF Gütersloh, when I was pregnant with Ian. He arrived home on leave 2 days after Ian was born. After a month's leave, he slipped back again, and we didn't join him until the following March. That had been at Christmas time. That trip to join him was a fun time. Louise was not yet walking at 18 months, and Ian was 2.5 months old in a carry-cot thing, with 2 handles. Simon at 3 was walking at least. We had to wait for a while, and when we were ready to go aboard the ferry, all 3 of my little darlings had filled their pants. The person who was there to help the wives and children joining servicemen were there, and they helped me change them. And we had an escort. Everyone else had walked on it. And one man is holding the carry-cot, another lady has the baby, and I don't know whether I was carrying or just leading Simon, but it was quite an entrance. Got used to those. I like those dramatic entrances, don't we? Soon after we got there, Bob was sent to RAF Yeva because Gütersloh was being converted to an air trooping centre, so I was on solo again along with the kids. But we were in married quarters then, so it wasn't bad. But the Air Force pay was split, so it was kind of a little difficult for us. I know there were a couple that we have pictures of them here actually, and we had 4 young kids all together between us, and we were waiting for payday, and all we had left, all we could find was 1 crust of bread and 4 little kids waiting to be fed, And we got some margarine, I think we had, and some jam, and we put it on the bread, and we carefully divided it in 4, and that was all they had till the next day. It was kind of tricky, but we did manage. When Bob's tour had finished, we went to RAF Shawbury. By then I was expecting Karen. She was born in an RAF hospital in Staffordshire. Simon, Louise and Ian were in school in the village. One morning, Louise was laying on the sofa looking rather flushed, and I checked her forehead and she was burning up. I checked behind her ears, and sure enough, there was that telltale rash. She had the measles. I don't know why I knew instinctively that's what it was, and I knew to look behind her ears. Must be in some childhood memory, I don't know. But she had the measles. Then Simon caught it, then Ian. Karen was quite close to her baby shots, so she didn't really have her immunity in place then, but she got really sick. She was so ill, we had her in a separate bedroom from the others and tried to keep the light out. She'd had bronchial pneumonia and almost died. Quite an ordeal. Over the course of 1 year, starting with Louise, and then each child in turn, they had measles, mumps, and then whooping cough. Poor Louise was so ill, her coughs were racking her little body, and she was throwing up every time she coughed. I spent one awful hellish year washing bedding, mopping up, washing little bodies, and getting very little sleep. Finally, things got back to normal. And for all those who think that vaccinations are not necessary or harmful, they should see the damage that measles can do, or mumps, or whooping cough. And that was even when they'd had their shots. We had some choice of where it would be for Bob's last posting, so we chose Cornwall to be close to my parents. Simon and Ian had had their tonsils out and were not able to travel. Bob took the 2 girls down to Cornwall on the train, where they stayed with my parents and my sister Sheila, and Bob took up his post at the base in RAF St. Morgan. When I'd done all the cleaning and marching out, that's an RAF procedure where you have to be marched out and they do an inventory and check for damage and everything, and I did all the cleaning. Then we got on the train, complete with a cross-border collie, 2 boys, 5 and 7, not really completely recovered, and all the luggage. Sheila met us at the station in Cornwall. While hugging me, she whispered in my ear that Grandma just had a stroke. She was very groggy, but I got there before she slipped into a coma, from which she never recovered, and I got to say hello. It was traumatic for the kids, especially Louise and Karen, who had been there for a week before we all arrived, and they knew Grandma, and had witnessed what had happened. Louise told me years later that she wanted to go to the funeral, but we thought it would be too scary for them. Louise has such beautiful eyes, and when she came to me about something, with her eyes brimming with tears, she could break your heart. When Bob was demobbed from the RAF in 1967, we emigrated to Canada and stayed with Pauline and Mike and their 2 children, Kay and Andrew. I'll be forever grateful to my dear sister. She had a 6-month-old baby and Kay was 2 and a half. She certainly had her hands full, but she made room for us and we felt very welcome. Bit overwhelmed with this new country for the kids, you know. It took a while for them to settle down and get used to the enormous changes and getting to know their cousins, whom they'd never met. Eventually we moved into a rental we found on Pandora Avenue. Then when we discovered it was crawling with fleas, we found another place promptly. The Kings Road house was right next door to the local bootlegger, Mary the bootlegger. There were several gentlemen lodgers living there, and Mary and one of them came home drunk one evening and tossed his cigarette butt in the grass and set fire to the fence between the 2 houses, and they were, this close together. Bob and I, and the kids, we just got all the beds set up, and you've got to put them all together, not just like a box spring, we had to lock them all together. And we just got the kids asleep, and we were absolutely exhausted, Bob and I. We were eating scrambled eggs and getting ready to go to bed after an exhausting day moving house, when I saw the flicker of flames through the window in the kitchen. I grabbed the kids. Ian was in the bed right next to the window, right above where the fire was. I dragged the bed away from the window, Ian and all, and then got the boys out of there and slammed the bedroom door. If it had been another second, Ian would have been right there under the window when the window exploded inwards. I heard it hit the door as I closed it, the broken glass. Simon was in that bedroom with Ian, but Karen and Louise were in the front one. I woke Louise and picked up Karen, and the bedding was still wrapped around her. And I got them outside somehow, I don't know how. Luckily it was summertime and a dry evening. In fact, that's why the fire started, it was so dry. I hauled the mattress and dragged it out the front door and lifted it bodily and threw it over the railing of the veranda onto the grass. I don't know how, because I couldn't even turn it without help normally. Amazing where that adrenaline and superhuman strength comes from. Karen just lay down on it and slept. She kept sleeping. We hadn't yet had the phone hooked up, so Bob had to run next door to tell them there was a fire. And Mary said, "What do you do that for? Why did you set the fire?" I said, "I didn't, lady. You better get..." She's dragging crates of booze out of the shed. She isn't even worried about the fire. Well, that first night in our new house was eventful, to say the least. Ian was always in some trouble or other, but Louise seemed to be rather quiet and contemplative at times. She could act up as well as the next child, and somehow we all managed to get through the early days when money was tight and keeping shoes on little feet, which kept growing bigger at an alarming rate, and keeping clothes on their backs was the primary importance. Bob was washing windows on a hanging basket on the side of the building when one of the sides came loose and slipped down. Bob managed to swing into an open window and fell on his tail, but inside, not falling down to the ground until the long way down. He was off work for a while, and we discovered the wonders of welfare. Bob had earned a little more than the welfare payment working full-time, but the welfare check was all in one lump sum at the beginning of the month. Only $2.50 a month, but we paid our rent up front and utilities and then had to think about food. A very kind man who was a teacher at the school, which backed onto our house, had a couple of acres and kept a few animals, including a milk cow, with a small garden for vegetables. He brought us a gallon jug of raw milk every morning. He had a friend who had a pharmacy, and he donated out-of-date vitamins, which couldn't sell, but which were just fine. So every morning I would walk the 3 oldest to school and pick up the milk from his car and carry it home. I bought a huge cellophane bag of puffed wheat. Do you remember those, anybody old enough? And with the milk and vitamins, and our new best friend Kraft dinner, we managed quite well. While Bob was recovering and watching the kids, I was loading cookware and vacuums and sewing machines in the trunk of an old caddy, then hauling cookware and heavy sewing machines upstairs to porches and doing sales pitches inside and getting home late every night. We had to make our own calls, so that was hard to do. Somehow between commission sales, putting on Tupperware and Sarah Coventry parties at home, in people's homes, we managed to put food on the table, pay the rent, and keep them, buy new shoes when needed. Louise was about 8 when we first came to Canada. She was a good girl who could get very upset if she felt an injustice was being done for her or her siblings. Oh, she could fight with them and for them. In Cornwall, we rented a house for my parents, and in the back lane, one day, she and Ian had a fight. Thank you, Benny. I've no idea what it was all about, but one of them got bashed on the head with an old shovel. I'm not pointing fingers in. and stitches were needed. They were only 16 months apart and had a few stats. Ian cut his knee on something in an old shed at the end of our back lane. Amazingly, they all survived from some of the things the kids got up to. Arriving when I was serving fish and chips at lunchtime, and the ambulance man comes in. Could you come, Mrs. Trett? Your son's had an accident. And I go out there, and there's Ian with a big bandage on his head, looking very pleased with himself. You know? Amazing, you all survived the things you got up to. Louise sucked her middle 2 fingers for a long time, and I despaired of her ever stopping the habit. Then one wise person said to me, "Don't worry, she won't be walking down the aisle sucking her fingers. She'll grow out of it." And of course she did. One day I was gathering laundry and found Bob's undershirt in Louise's bed. She was just a little girl. She loved the smell of Old Spice from Bob's aftershave. She adored her dad. When he shaved off his beard to try for a better job, Louise took one look and burst into tears. But she, you know, in general, she was a happy child. She could be very obstinate at times, though. When we bought one of the first condos in the Squamot, she met her lifelong best friend, Anne. They were best buds almost immediately. Louise received an award for singing off stage in a school production in junior high. She was on stage as well, of course, but she had this beautiful singing voice, and it was noted, and there was a little write-up in the paper. It was lovely. We were very proud of our daughter. But then I was working for the provincial government in the Parliament buildings downtown. Bob was a cocktail bartender for the Swiftsure Inn by the harbour. Louise had met and fallen for this young Italian boy with an enormous mass of curly black hair. It needed cutting. He lived in the apartment building next door to our complex. They eventually were married from our home in Colwood. I can't see any of you because I've got tears in my eyes. They had a wonderful wedding in St. Luke's Church along Cedar Hill Road. She had a beautiful dress and flowers from our garden, white and yellow roses around her face in her veil. Louise and I stayed up for hours making lasagna and chili, as anything Italian, for Luigi, Diageo's dad, whom I'd never met. I doubt if he touched any of it. He had something to eat for breakfast, he said. He wasn't hungry. So Louise and I were a little pissed off about that, but that's another story. I had made 3 tiers of English-style wedding cake, and Louise and Diageo had it iced professionally. Our next-door neighbour dragged over their picnic bench, and so we used that in the back garden. There were 40 people in our house in the garden. We had ham, turkey, lasagna, and chili, and the dogs almost got the ham and turkey. It was in a box in the basement, and the door had got open, and they'd slipped in, so I just managed to rescue that in time. One of their friends at the wedding, a young girl, asked me what she was supposed to do with the wedding cake. We had little boxes, you see. And was she supposed to put it under a pillow or something? And I looked at her, I said, you could always eat it. The traditional English wedding cakes are made like Christmas cake with lots of fruit and liquor to preserve it. I'd baked them weeks in advance, and they'd been maturing ever since. It was the custom to wrap small pieces of the cake and give them to guests, and they took them home and ate them at home. After they were married, Louise and her new husband left for Calgary, where Diageo had a business doing pressure welding. He'd taken the 10-month course with Manpower and got a job. Now, I have got Diageo with Utah Mines in Port Hardy. I don't know where you're sitting. Where's Diageo? Was that right?
That's right.
In Port Hardy? I couldn't remember. I thought it was, right. And you hurt your leg, didn't you? We had a big tire or something fall on you, and Louise went up there to help you. I remember that. Anyway, when Diageo worked on getting his welding tickets, my memory's a little bit blurry about all that time, Diageo, sorry about that. When Matthew was born, Bob and I flew to Calgary to see him and his happy parents. Matt was absolutely perfect, and I fell in love with him right away, right then and there. I took pictures of him and left the Polaroid camera under the tree for them to take more. It was November, and Louise had the tree up and decorated. Diageo always planned on buying a sailboat, which he eventually did. Little Jem became his baby. Louise and Diageo took sailing lessons and then started fitting her up to go offshore. Radar, safety equipment, etc. Louise learned Morse code and got her ham radio license. They did. You had quite a few times when you managed to rescue people, didn't you, because of that? You'd have heard on the radio, yeah. They took scuba diving lessons together. Meanwhile, they decided to move back to Victoria and bought our home in Colwood. I'd gone up to Nanaimo and I bought a bookstore here. Adrian was born and then Jessie. Eventually, when Adrian and Jessie were in New Vic and they had set them up in an apartment, they were almost ready to leave. It took 25 years of planning before they were ready. So much more happened before all this. I was now in Vernon. I remember Louise showing up at my apartment and picking up Neil to take him skiing. She had a massive curly hair. I can see her now. A radiant smile. I was so happy to see. Family has always been important to Louise. When she and Biagio were ready to leave on Little Gem, Jack and I were getting married in Salmon. I asked her if she'd be my matron of honour. She said yes, and it was a wonderful day. I remember she trimmed Tom's hair, Jack's old army buddy and best man. Having her there to stand up for me was wonderful. I was so happy to have her with me. When she told me that she was leaving with Pauline to drive back to Victoria, that she was going to be gone for about 5 years, I was devastated at the thought of not seeing my daughter for so long. What adventures she had with Biagio. She was playing guitar and singing for children in the South Pacific, sailing for 21 days straight on the open sea to the Cook Islands and French Marquesas. She brought us back black pearls and had them made into earrings for Karen and I, and a pendant for me. In Queensland, she visited an opal mine and brought me back an opal which she had made into a pendant. We designed it together, and I'll treasure it forever, right there. Louise wrote about 4 sea shanties. I love to hear them play and sing them. One was called Potluck on the Beach. Remember that bit? They swam and dived in the waters around the Great Barrier Reef, and coming into Sydney, 75 miles out there, it was a storm, a great swell. One had to struggle sailing to Safe Harbour. When they reached New Zealand, Louise flew home to see her babies. While she was in Victoria, she gave me a birthday party in the apartment with the boys. It was lovely, and she made a wonderful meal and a small cheesecake for dessert. It was 7 years after first sailing from Baja, California, before they brought little Jen back from Hawaii with the help of Simon and his crew, where she had been birthed for a year, I think. After 34 years together, Louise and Biagio parted company, and she was left to make a new life for herself. She rented a small house in Victoria and worked as a cashier at Fairways Market until carpal tunnel surgery and both wrists and tendonitis made it impossible for her to carry on. She met and was seeing a young man of whom she became very fond, but he didn't want to commit, so she reluctantly ended that relationship. Eventually, she joined an online dating service and met a wonderful man who lived in Abbotsford. They arranged that he would come over and they would meet at a family barbecue. He was nervous as she was, I think, and he locked his keys in his car. In spite of poor Hugh, I think you were most embarrassed, weren't you, darling? But in spite of shaky beginnings, they fell in love and bought a house together in Chemainus. Hugh still worked and lived in Abbotsford. He would commute back and forth every weekend he could. Oh, it was so hard for them, both of them, but they made it work. Finally, after much discussion and soul searching, weighing pros and cons, Hugh quit his job and moved to the island permanently. When Hugh proposed to Louise, she was so happy. They planned their marriage, and of course Louise, being the artist that she was, set up a wonderful stage for the wedding in the backyard. Draped silky fabrics and flowers everywhere. I was on it to do the food for the wedding and cooked and froze and baked. I made about 300 meatballs and hundreds of cookies, cheesecakes, arranged to have a cake made. I made lasagna and chili and other casseroles, pulled pork wings, salads and sauces. Oh wow, it was quite a spread. We weren't sure how many people would be able to come, and I asked Louise how many she thought. She said they were working on the invitations, and they would send out about 60 invitations, but probably only 50 would show. They sent out 72 invitations, and 75 turned up, I believe. But we had lots of food. What a wonderful, magical day that was. I was amazed and thrilled when she'd asked me if I would stand up for her. She'd done the same for me. We had a 4-generation wedding party. Carrie was her ring bearer. Chloe was the flower girl, and Anne was her maid of honor. Karen was her bridesmaid, and I was her attendant. Can a 78-year-old be a bridesmaid? Louise, with her great talent and craftsmanship, had ordered the flowers and arranged them all herself, making bouquets and buttonholes for the men and the flowers that decorated every space outside and in. Chloe started out in her pretty little dress and started throwing petals out of the basket. Then she paused and picked them all up again. It was so sweet. Louise was waiting behind me to follow on Simon's arm. Tom, Jack's best man, was there for the wedding, and she said, "Tom, can you go and get my vows? I left them by somewhere." And he slipped out and got the vows for her. And Chloe pausing that way, it was perfect. She gave him time to do that. We were walking on the grass, and I thought it was a bit uneven. I wondered why. I didn't remember it being that way. Then Anne pointed out to me that my heel was leaving pieces of cork all along the way from the bathroom to the front of the lawn where they were going to exchange the vows. My heel had totally disintegrated, so I tossed those and was stocking feet the rest of the time. It was a wonderful and magical time, wasn't it, darling? Hugh was resplendent in his suit and teal-coloured shirt, which was the theme for the wedding, and white and yellow roses in his lapel. Louise's favourite colour was mine too, and even more so now. Louise was so beautiful. After the ceremonies and food was done, the music started. Anyone who could just jumped right in and joined in with the music. My sister Sheila, whom Louise adored, was very ill and was gone by September 12th, the month after Louise and Hugh were married. Louise was actually with Sheila when she passed. Louise was holding her hand and said to Sheila, "If you're ready to go, Sheila, it's okay, darling." And she sighed and was gone, just like that. Louise was wonderful. She called me and came back to take me back to the hospital. I'd gone back with Jack to the place we were staying at Sheila's place. So I got to say goodbye to her that way. Louise had a wonderful knack of seeing what needed to be done and just getting on with it and doing it. Louise and Hugh made the front room into a music room, complete with piano and a drum set and guitars. She encouraged Hugh to go back to playing guitar and singing. He has a lovely voice. It was great to hear them both playing and singing together. Now there are about 7 guitars hanging on the wall and propped up against everything around the room. Hugh's 60th party was so lovely, wasn't it great, Hugh? All his old friends and family grown-up time. Jack and I did a couple of comedy numbers from our show. First party was a housewarming, and of course the first Christmas in the house together was full of decorated spaces and lights and fabulous food. There were 20 people seated in the same room, which is the sunroom, which is the dining room. 2 long tables side by side, so it was a mountain of oh, such memories. Bob's 80th birthday party was nice. Bob went away on the mountain. Louise would pick Bob up and take him to the karaoke where he was singing. She did that lots of times. He just loved it. He had diabetes and lost one eye and couldn't walk without walking. So he was in a nursing home by then. She made a point of taking 1 day a week to drive from Chemainus to Nanaimo and spend quality time with her dad. She and Karen spent as much time as they could with Bob, and Louise looked after his financial affairs and then working hard to set up a memorial for him just over a year ago. That's when he passed away. She and Karen collected photos for that and arranged them on boards and things. I saw pics I hadn't seen in years, right here too, which triggered many memories. Anne was here and was a great help. I did never realize it, but Louise was scared of big dogs. Amazing when parents don't know about what their parents don't know about their kids' lives. You think you know, but you really don't. She told me she'd been trapped for what seemed like hours as a little girl by a big, growly dog all by herself and was terrified. Louise was a private person, very modest, really. She described herself in recent years as a pragmatist. She was down to earth, resourceful, diplomatic when she needed to be. So many times she surprised me with small gestures that meant the world to me at the time. She became my friend and confidant as well as my daughter. She was very aware of the environment and grew vegetables as much as she could from the garden. A big old apple tree in the backyard. Always tried to eat real food in recent years especially. She cut the boys' hair when they needed it and trimmed mine and Jack's in recent times. She had a sense of style and knew what suited her. Her artistry was incredible. She would make the most amazing things as gifts. Adrian had been posting examples of Louise's art over the years on Facebook. And I've been looking at them. It just brings back so memories. She made Christmas tree ornaments with the boys when they were little as gifts for family. We had little marching bandsmen with their instruments, walnut shell mice, icicles. I couldn't begin to list them all. Her crafts were exquisite. I have two beautiful pink roses made out of paper with long stem, in a long stem bud vase. She absolutely loved that vase, but she thought the roses would look lovely in that, so she gave it to me. She was like that. She was a very generous person. She really loved it, but it was perfect, so she gave it to me. The vase of paper flowers in lovely colours, like the ones Adrian posted on Facebook. We have two orchids. The flowers are just beautiful, and I've been watering and fertilised them. One was for Jack's 80th, and the other was for, I don't know, Father's Day, I think. And I've just got a stem coming up. It was just lovely. They're going to be blooming in a couple of weeks. So I have all these lovely things all over the house from her, really. Years ago, she took a horticulture course and loved gardening. To be able to afford the house and needed to work, she found a job in Shemana. You got a job in Shemana. She decided she was good at house cleaning and loved it. Hugh came up with a slogan on her business card, "Cleaning's a breeze with Louise." So in her usual professional style, she worked on business cards and advertising. It didn't take long before she built up a clientele and was in demand with more work than she could handle. Jack and I had her as a guest spot on some of our gigs many a time, music and comedy shows, whenever we were in town. I remember her sitting by the stage with Matt for a gig, and they were sitting in the table. It was a dinner theatre for a yacht club from the States somewhere. And she came up and did a number for us. Always well-groomed and so beautiful. I miss her smile and her, "Hi, Mama." Sorry. Louise Margaret Rose, choose this child. So full of grace, and you certainly were, kind and generous to a fault. No one could be loved more than my courageous daughter. So many things she cared about. Most of all, she was a kind, wise, loving, sensitive, passionate about people and things she cared about, thoughtful, compassionate, courageous human being. She was an artist, artisan, musician, singer, songwriter, horticulturist, homemaker, loving wife, sister, mom, grandma, incredibly gentle and caring stepdaughter, faithful friend, confidant, dutiful and caring, nurturing daughter who cared about other people more than herself. I'll miss you forever, my darling girl. We've been proud to have you as a daughter. May you sing with the angels and soar to great heights among the stars. I'd like to close with a quote from Helen Keller. This was on a sympathy card that a lady who worked at Quality Foods where I was having groceries delivered. I have to tell you that she was so sympathetic when she knew what had happened, and I was talking to her, and she sent me, with the groceries, she sent me a card with Helen Keller verse on the front. What we once enjoyed and deeply loved, we can never lose, for all that we love deeply become a part of us. Rest in peace, my angel. I'll miss you forever.
Thank you, Eileen, for that detailed account of Louise's life and experience. There's some stories in there that I hadn't even heard, which is great. You know, and that's my favorite part of these experiences are all these unique experiences that people get to share. And there are tissues back beside April with cute little quotes on them. So if you want some tissues, I'll throw them at you.
Feel inspired.
Hold your hand up. I think I'm going to share a little bit, and then I'm going to invite my brothers up here to share a little bit. And then Anne is going to have a very short share. And then Neil's going to play a song. And then Simon's going to share something. And that is about the scheduled discussion and sharing. But there will be an open mic at the end if we still have time. So before I get started, I just want to share a couple of thank yous that I think are deserving. I really want to thank everyone who helped set up this event in a week amid COVID restrictions, because that was fun.
Well done, folks.
And there were certainly a handful of people that went well above and beyond to coordinate everything that we needed done in a week. And here we are, so thank you. I'm not going to name names, you know who you are. Thank you so much. And I really do want to thank everyone that came up to visit Louise in the hospital. That was a lovely showing of all of the family. We inundated the hospital. They didn't know what to do with us. We had a picnic on the lawn. They came over and asked if we were camping, and we just explained what was going on. And you know, in addition to everyone who came up to visit Louise at the hospital, thank you for coming and visiting her at home. That was a really special week with all those people being there and loving her. And thank you for the people that also didn't visit at the hospital or at home. You know, Louise really did appreciate that little bit of tranquility and calmness in her home. And thank you for that as well. And just the most massive thank you from the bottom of my heart for the few that formed Louise's direct care team in her final days. And who worked tirelessly to keep Louise comfortable and her desires met during that time. You know, I'm never going to wish an experience like that to anyone. It was really hard. And I think we've all been deeply changed by that. But we retained our strength together. And I thank you for taking such good care of my mom. Being Louise's child was really awesome, actually. It was such a special experience. She taught us so many cool things, really. She was such a cool mom. She taught me to love music, absolutely love music. She taught me to love art, immersed in art. She taught me to love dancing, pieces that form like the most core parts of me now. And she taught me how to cook. She taught me how to fix my clothes, and she taught me how to be a decent human and to love people. And it wasn't just my childhood years. Those lessons and examples set by Louise continued into my adulthood. And even until her final days, she was still teaching and showing by example. Eileen mentioned it a little bit. Louise taught me the power of immediacy. Be careful if you tell Louise an idea or a project, because in 10 minutes, you'll be starting it. You want to do something? Why not get it done right now? And that's everything from a small menial task to something large and daunting in life. You know, Mom taught me the benefit of jumping right in right now and pushing her personal performance. Louise jumped in with both feet into many things, and sometimes that's a treacherous activity if you don't look into the water, and sometimes you might knock your head on a rock, and she seemed to do it a lot more gracefully than I did in my life. But I continue to refine the benefit of that lesson to me. While teaching us all these things, she did an unconscious thing that I didn't really notice until years later, and that's teaching me unconditional love. And that seems kind of cliche, but it's actually a big deal in your community, in your family, with your children. Unconditional love is massive, and she showed me what it really means, truly means to love people like that. And she showed me that in her own way by helping me pass English every year, even through to university, or when she would stay up late when I was working until 2 in the morning and make sure she fed me when I got home, or even when I would do stupid things and get in trouble with the authorities. Sure, she was disappointed, but that love was never wavering. And even in her final days, as we were all really struggling to cope with the events that were unfolding, she would still give me little smiles, just to make me feel safe. You know, I didn't really understand that lesson of unconditional love until I had my own children. And honestly, in those 9 months leading up to Kai's birth, I was pretty terrified about parenting. Of course, I had never done it. You know, had I read enough? Was I prepared? you know, am I going to mess my kids up? And it gave me great assurance to know that I could fall back on that example and lesson of unconditional love. And it taught me to keep me faced in the right direction with my children. And that no matter what difficulty I faced and challenges in parenting, I could come back to that. And that made me feel really reassured. And I thank Louise for that. You know, there's much more complexity in parenting than just relying on unconditional love for your children, but I do have Louise to thank for that base. Eileen also mentioned about transcending the parent-child relationship with her daughter and how amazing that was, and I think that's a really special experience in your life, and I was able to do that with Louise, where I became her friend after years, and that was great. And there was a great part of my life where Louise was single and I needed a roommate, and she moved in with me for a couple of years, and that was my mom living with me in my house, and she was going on dates, and she was hanging out at our house parties, and she was doing my dishes on Sunday morning. It was a hilarious few years, and it was really fun, and I look on back that now so fondly. And she met Hugh when she was living with me during that time, and that was a great experience. We had a lot of fun in that house. You know, Louise is an artist for sure, and that's apparent in all the amazing work that she's done. And now I also have that love for art because of her, and I've been just blessed by the sheer amount of hours that I've been able to spend creating art with this woman, you know, ever since I was 4.